Hello everyone. So in this section we will be looking at the learning environment. So your learning environment is your physical space inside your classroom as well as the outdoors area where children play and therefore where they learn, they grow and develop. So we're going to look at all the important things that we need to keep in mind about our learning environment. And I think we sometimes forget that using your space that you have available, you need to plan on how to use that space. So, making sure that we plan appropriately, making sure that we consider the health and safety of the children, and also looking at storage. So, storage actually plays a big part when it comes to the learning environment. So, I'm going to go through each of those three individually just to unpack them a little bit so that you can have a good understanding. So, using your space. So all of us have access to different size ECD centers. Our classrooms are different sizes, and some have a lot of resources, others don't have a lot of resources. So we always learn that we need to make the best of what we have, and with good planning, making sure that we have the important parts is going to make things a lot easier for you. And remember that our ultimate goal is to develop the children holistically. So we need to keep that in mind when we plan the areas that we have. So using your space means the inside of your classroom as well as the outside of your classroom. So we need to make sure that we plan our space. In other words, your arrangements inside, where the tables are, where the different learning areas are, it needs to be planned well. So you need to look at what activities am I going to do with the children? Is it individual work? Is it group work? Is it things that's going to be messy? So paint? Is it the morning ring? Where am I doing the morning ring? The different learning areas, where do I put them? Because we need to make sure that we have those different learning areas, like our book corner, the literacy corner, the numeracy corner, the fantasy area, the book corner, the educational games and constructions areas. Those need to be part of your classroom. And sometimes when we don't have a lot of space for them, you can make Monday, Wednesday and Friday you can have some learning areas, and Tuesday and Thursday you can have different learning areas, because the idea is that children have access to these learning areas where they can develop different skills and abilities. So you need to plan, where are you going to put this? Do you have furniture that you can move around to create more space during the day for certain activities? So that is really, really important. And also, children's artwork needs to be put on the walls, because we know that it builds self-esteem and it builds excitement in the children. It also creates a lovely, happy feeling to the classroom. So one thing I want you to remember is that the book corner, for example, shouldn't be next to the fantasy corner. And if we were in class, I would have loved to know your answers. But just to explain why I say that is that when you are in the reading corner, you want children to be able to sit down, page through books, read, look at the picture. So they need a quiet space. And then fantasy area is not a quiet space. So if we put them next to each other, it's going to be very disturbing and distracting. So that's what I'm saying. It takes a lot of planning to be able to arrange your learning area appropriately. The same goes for the outside. Where you put certain resources and where you put certain learning areas outside will make a difference. So when we look at the health and safety element of your learning areas, is we need to make sure that there's nothing in our classrooms that can harm the children. So for example, loose mats or flooring that the children can trip over. Is the classroom very full, so maybe children bump into things? We need to make sure of that. And also the resources that we have that is not age appropriate for that specific group needs to be put away so that they don't have access to that. Your plugs also need to be covered. So we know that children love exploring and they will press their fingers into the holes. So make sure that you either put a piece of furniture in front of it or cover it with a safety cover. Also, children need to make sure that you need to make sure that the children can move around in the classroom freely. And also, if you have children with special needs, you need even a little bit more space. So that's health and safety. And also the storage side of things in your classroom is very, very important. So it's important that there's structure and planning in terms of your storage and structure for where is your resources, where certain resources are put, because we don't want children to have to always ask for resources. So those that you make available for free play, that needs to be accessible to the children. They need to be able to go and get them themselves without going to ask you. There are certain resources that we don't want them to be able to play with freely, so we put them away either higher up, or we put them in a cupboard where children won't have access. It's also very important for children to have their own storage space. So there where their bags are hanging, it's very important that a child has his or her own space where they can store their bag. So you can put the child's name there, because it creates a sense of belonging. It creates a sense of safety. That is my space. That is where my things go. And the same for the staff. You also need an area where you can put your things safely away. So it's very important to look at these things, and some of your resources need to be put away on a daily basis. For example, the outside resources. Say, for example, you have certain blocks or bicycles that you use outside. The weather's changing, so we can't leave everything outside because it's going to damage your resources. So storage is really, really important, and children also need to learn how to pack away themselves. It's part of being independent and part of learning life skills. So that's your planning of your space and your health and safety, and making sure that you have storage available. So I have spoken briefly about the learning areas, and again, just to reiterate that the learning areas are the different corners. I know we all refer to it differently, but it's there to help the children develop holistically, to create a space for them to develop certain skills. So in your different learning areas, there's different resources and there's different furniture. So in the book corner, you would have pillows or a carpet or some comfortable space where children will be able to read books. In your fantasy area, you have different resources and you have different furniture in there. So in different areas, there's a table in your module that you can look out for the different learning areas, what resources, what furniture. And now I'm getting to a part that speaks about extensions. So you'll see in your module it speaks about extensions, or also known as learning area extensions or theme extensions, or the point is it's an extension. So what it means is that your theme must be seen in your different learning areas. So it's basically saying that you are extending your theme for the week or for the month to the different learning areas. So if you are, for example, busy with transport, you need to make sure that transport, the theme, can be seen in your classroom. So you change the things in your different learning areas that is all about transport. So in your book corner, you will have books about transport. In your fantasy area, you'll have cars and tools, and create a space where children can play with cardboard boxes to make their own cars. So in the creative activities that you'll be doing, or the literacy corner, you will have things about transport that they can construct. So shapes, for example, to build different cars with. The construction corner, you will have different things that they can build the cars with, make paths, things like that. And also the outside area. So we are extending our theme to the rest of the learning areas. It's a very, very important thing for ECD practitioners to understand, because it creates more meaning in your theme. And when children are exposed to things more repeatedly, they will get a better understanding of the theme. So also remember that there are different learning areas outdoors, with your sand play, your water play, your movement, and also your adventure play. So there's a few examples in the form below, you will see. Please make note of them, and I really want to encourage you to try and extend your themes to your different learning areas. It creates so much fun for the children. Hope this was helpful.